Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Ruminations of a TI, Targeted Individual. Shout out to Tina Plakinger for being inspirational to me and writing this great book and making this video, and to Economic Ninja for getting me started on this incredible video journey. I also want to shout out to people on YouTube who keep me prayed up and inspired, including but not limited to Appalachia's Homestead, Bear Independent, Pinball Preparedness, Patrick Humphrey, Donut, Adam aka Marf at Marfugal News, and many others. My name is not important, but my story may be. Hindsight is 2020, and looking back, one can see clearly now what was happening then. Today is August 22nd, 2025, and I will read from Tina Plakinger's book, Treading on Serpents, for today's entry, August 22nd, as well as yesterday's, August 21st, as they are both equally pertinent and powerful. So here first is August 21st, and this is the book, Treading on Serpents. The bullseye is the mark for attack, where the vandalism takes place, the rape occurs, the extortion is completed, and the entertainment begins. A whole decade can go by without us receiving one act of kindness from anyone. We grow vulnerable because of our deprivation of human contact. We must be careful not to rush or get pushed into a faux friendship. A perpetrator will use matters of the heart to form a relationship with us, to gain access to our life. They could have opened the door with a simple smile or helping hand. It is intimate infiltration. Footnote 19. Intimate infiltration is a form of false intimacy performed by a perpetrator who is trying to get close to the target or people the target knows. If the attempt fails, the target's best friend may soon have a new significant other. This cruel scheme is usually devastating and meant to take us out. Having personal boundaries set in place will save our life. When someone smiles at us, we can smile back. We can allow ourselves to embrace the warm feeling of a smile before we leave it as just a smile. We ask God to help us from receiving the kiss of death. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but deceitful is the kiss of an enemy. Proverbs 27:6. Okay, now for August 22nd. Their schemes are well-planned setups to minimize, embarrass, and utterly demoralize us. It is common to accidentally slip into another vicious scheme. We must get back up, brush ourselves off, and refuse to buy into it. We are not victims because we have a need for victimization. We battle evil forces that never fight fairly, nor are out in the open. Some of us targets become someone's envy, an ugly yet powerful demonic spirit, or a perp is refusing to be accountable for his own actions, and we have become the apparent scapegoat within the group. We need to be diligent about not losing our perspective of who we are, so we do not take on someone else's trash. We must also refrain from focusing on an obsessed perpetrator who is wanting to transfer their jealousy onto us. We do not want our energy to drop down to such a low vibrational frequency. It sounds passive, but spending 5 minutes a day to sit quietly and breathe deeply is something we need to practice for staying centered. We can deal with a bad day of dark feelings in ways that reflect self-responsibility rather than victimization. While we are in a whirlwind of negativity, we should take time out to get balanced and ask God for direction. God, help me not to use gang stalking as an excuse to live below your standards. Help me make the right decisions that will help me either break this curse or live with it more comfortably. So that's it today from Tina's book. I want to talk about some things that are odd things that happen to me, and they're gang stalking things that happen to TIs. And looking back, now I know. A few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago at the most, I used to go to this one restaurant every Wednesday for their soup. And they had a daily soup, a different soup every day. And on Wednesdays, it was my favorite soup. So I frequently went there on Wednesdays just for the soup. And one day I got the soup and the spoon and had some soup, and suddenly my tongue was bleeding. And I felt the warm blood just coming from my tongue. And it wasn't soup in my mouth. And I was so shocked and devastated. I pulled out my mirror from my purse and I looked in my little pocket mirror, and my tongue was bleeding a lot. Very fast blood, red, was coming, squirting out of my tongue. And then I looked at the spoon, and it had a cut, a big hack, right in the middle of it. Now, at the time, I was very innocent and naive and even gullible. And I told the waitress, look at this spoon and look at my tongue. And she apologized and took the spoon away and sent the manager over. And he said, that the soup would be free, right? Big deal, right? And I thought it was an accident, of course. I thought it was an honest mistake. But now I realize that it was not an accident. The spoon was meant to cut my tongue. Restaurants don't hand out spoons with big gashes in them. They're in the business of feeding people and making sure that their silverware is safe. So these gang stalkers, they wear you down bit by bit, piece by piece, and it's called death by 1,000 cuts. Another time I recall I was going through the grocery lines with a checker and a bagger. Soon, if I had bought a magazine, when I got home, the cover would be ripped. It wasn't ripped when I put it on the conveyor belt. Oftentimes, items would be missing, a pound of meat would be missing, things would be ripped open. At the time, I thought, these are careless people. They don't care about their job, they don't care about the customers. But now I realize it was not careless people. It was gang stalking. One of the first things I realized a few years ago was a lot of my mail was missing. And so I got informed delivery, and there was still a lot missing, especially if I would receive samples of things from a company that I frequently purchase things from, or any nice catalogs or free stuff. Then mail was missing from the IRS, from the Department of Revenue, from the Secretary of State. My bills would be missing. All of my bills would never come. Bank statements, invoices, nothing came. So I got a post office box, and I forwarded my mail to a post office box in another city. And it was okay for a week or two, but then everything started there again, and the mail was missing. So I went to another city, and the same thing happened again. I got 5 or 6 different post office boxes in 5 or 6 different cities in the surrounding area, and everywhere I went, it didn't matter. It was the same everywhere. After that, I noticed that my living quarters had been compromised and that people were coming in and out of my apartment. I could tell because not only were my animals acting strange when I would come home, but also things were missing, and then things that were missing would show up a week later. And they were silly, insignificant things like an envelope moistener that cost maybe $1 or $2. In my ledger books on my desk, under the daily balances for the people I was keeping track of on my account, someone wrote in zeros on all of my accounts. And the zeros had the zero with the line drawn through it. And I never write my zeros like that. I knew it wasn't my writing, and I thought, you know, that is so weird. Who would come in here just to write zeros in on my ledger and minimize me like that, make me feel like I shouldn't have any money? So that was part of it. Also, I had a big safe in my apartment for my valuables. It had a serial number on the front of it. One day in the informed delivery, I saw mail from the safe company, and I thought that was really weird. Like, why would they be sending me anything? So, of course, I didn't receive the piece of mail, and I checked off, not received, like as if that would track it down, but it never did. And of course, now I can't even check that box. It's vanished off the informed delivery. But anyway, I digress. It was never received, and so I realized that the people who were coming in and out of my apartment took the serial number off my safe, wrote away to the company saying, I bought this safe, I'm this person, and this is my address, and please send me the combination. And they got the combination mailed to me, and they had the mailman steal that piece of mail so they would have the combination and be able to come inside, get into my safe, and steal everything in it that was near and dear to me. And so what did I do? I threw the safe in the trash. I emptied out the contents, I got a new safe, and I literally just threw it in the trash. What good could it be to me now that it was compromised and the enemy had the combination? So I dumped it. I didn't have time to sell it. I got a new safe, a smaller one, and I realized they will come in and just pick this one up and haul it away. So I glued it to the floor. Anyways, now it's still there. I changed the locks on the doors to my apartment many times, but each time the locksmith sold me out and somehow had the ability to make keys for the gang stalkers. So they always knew who the locksmith was and got to him before I did, or didn't matter what I said to him. They were more powerful than me. And so sometimes the locks I bought would be very common locks, and so the keys were just easy to come by. So then I got an alarm system, and it helped for a while, but I realized the people at the alarm company were also probably working for the gang stalkers. So finally I found some keys and locks that can't be duplicated unless someone can make a photocopy of your key and take a picture of your key. And from a picture of your key, the gang stalkers were able to make copies of those keys with just a photo. It took them a few days to get in, but again, they got in. And so I had to get a burner phone and call a locksmith so they wouldn't know I was calling the locksmith, and get the locks changed over and over again, which is incredibly expensive. So anyway, in my apartment, what they were doing this time, they were putting something in my eye makeup and lipsticks and face creams, and of course in my food and spices. And whatever they put in the eye makeup would burn my face, and all of my eyelashes fell out. And so I knew I was being poisoned, and I had to get rid of all of those things and replace them. Another expensive feat, and very emotionally and financially draining. Don't even get me started on trying to get a fair shake at a haircut or a manicure or eating out. Completely forget about it unless you want to get poisoned or butchered or something that you may not ever recover from. Should we talk about the constant surveillance, audio and video, that I am under? Let's save that for the future. because there's just so much to tell you about. Like, say, for example, my current problems. I'm getting kicked out of my place, this place that I've been here for 12 years, because of a targeting tactic of the whole community ganging up on me, complaining to management about my cigarette smoking and burning incense, and my dogs barking too loudly. And I have over $1,000 in fines that I've been placed on me, and they are threatening now to force a sale of this condominium unit. The big if I don't remedy the situation. So my dog barks. All dogs bark. Dogs bark, right? That's what they do. They don't meow. They don't hiss. They don't speak English or Spanish. They bark. They all bark. Mine, the breed that one of my dogs is, he has a very loud and deep bark. He's a Rottweiler. And so now that I have some good protection, they want me to get rid of my dog or move. And so it's almost too much for me to talk about. The past, though, is much easier for me to talk about, although it's just as sickening, if not more so. So I have more stories to come. This is what being a targeted individual is all about. Everyone does you wrong. And even worse, people, innocent people that don't want to do you wrong, get caught in the crossfire and they end up having to do you wrong. And this is even worse. Are you being mistreated, manhandled, abused, lied to, gaslit, photographed, videotaped by everyone everywhere you go for no apparent reason? Until I had heard of gang stalking, I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I had a tattoo on my forehead right here that said, "Screw me," that everyone saw but me. Well, guess what? I do have it, and I'll wear it like a badge of honor. Thanks for watching. More videos to come. See you next time. Please like, subscribe, and share. Peace out.